Hello, hello! Time for a bit of a catch-up, yeah. So what's happened since the last time I actually spoke properly on the camera? Well, I got a job.
Yeah, boy!
Finally, after like months of looking around and waiting for things and whatever, I'm actually working 9 to 5, getting some money in, feeling like I've got something to do every day, and it's pretty good, it's pretty good. But before you all go leaving comments like, what the hell about that last video, you're going to get fired, you're mental, what are you doing? I'd like to point out that there are only 2 people in the whole building while I'm at work. That's me and the boss, and he's upstairs and I'm downstairs, so I'm just basically left alone all day. So yeah, things like this will happen. Diga me. But really, most of the day, my work consists of doing something a little bit like this. It's very repetitive and it's a little bit tedious, so please understand that through the course of every working day, there is a point where I lose my mind ever so slightly. But that's entertaining, so woo! So now it's time to just sit and relax and do a bit of the good old video talking and show you what I got for my birthday. Well, I didn't actually get any robots for my birthday, so that's why this video is a little bit later, because it's like I had to order them and then wait for them to come. And what I'm going to show you counts as my birthday haul because it was from birthday money. Anyway, before we crack on with the birthday stuff, there's one bottle I've got to get out of the way that I got the week before I started work. It's Age of Extinction Snarl. I thought I was done with AoE. I was perfectly happy to let that die and just fade away into nothingness. I mean, I'd still probably like a Hound, maybe Galvatron. But when I saw this guy for £6.50 on Amazon, and let's face it, I've seen it go for like 3 times that, I was like, oh, okay, I'll take a punt on that. It's alright, yeah. I'm a fan of Stegosauruses, probably my favourite dinosaur. He's spiky and green, and he's got some G1 robot-y kind of design elements. Like, let's face it, none of the other like movie Dinobots have anything that looks really like their G1 version, but Snarl's got the displayed open tail on his back and vaguely similar shape to his chest, I don't know. Anyway, I don't really like him, yeah. I'm not entirely sure why. I think it may be just, it's nice to just chuck a small, relatively small amount of money at a deluxe and just have it feel nice. And what he is a nice green lettuce. Yeah, here you go, here's a Stegosaurus going Super Saiyan. I have never seen Dragon Ball Z. He's got a little tiny head that moves and his mouth opens and he can snarl at things. And he's quite poseable, I suppose, as a dinosaur. His legs move and everything. But I'm very aware that nothing here, nothing at all is soft plastic. And it's like you compare that to Slug and Scorn. And it's like, wow, this is not very pleasant to hold in certain ways, and you could probably take out a child's eye with these spikes. But not these ones at the top here, because they're really wobbly and they fall out because they don't peg in properly, because this is part of the thing that makes his axe for robot mode, and they just don't stay there, and that's rubbish, and he kind of looks better without that there as well. I don't know. Something about these spikes up here is ever so slightly softer compared to the rest. So there's like a bit of a give where they connect together to form the little port that this bit plugs into, so it's not really right, and that happens. But just as a crazy kind of semi-impulse purchase deluxe guy, I'm really happy with Snarl. He's got a good robot mode, he's not insanely poseable, you know, just looks good, he cuts a good figure, and he's got good colours, and the only really bad thing is if I just sort of splay some arms out of the back end of this Stegosaurus, yeah, his hands, what are you supposed to do with these? That's how his arms look. This is how his wrist rotates, not in any kind of meaningful way, so you're left with the whole curling gorilla arms thing going on, which is very hard to work with, but it doesn't kill the appeal of this thing for me, like I know it does for certain other people I've spoken to. So there's Snarl, he's a bit of a laugh. The Steg. So now we move on to the couple of bots that I got with birthday money. First up, and purely because I saw him cheap on Masterforce, it's Combined Wars Sunstreaker. I thought that he was the weakest one out of the lot when I would be looking at pictures and things and deciding which one of these to pass on maybe so that I can have Hound combined with Optimus instead when he comes out. But I found him cheap and I thought, yeah, go on then. You kind of twisted my arm. I'm kind of liking some of the things this thing's doing, and I'd seen some really nice art by Casey Collar on the day where he had decided to draw the whole kind of Ultra Prime team in the proper IDW style, and I was like, oh, they did a comic with these designs and that whole thing, that'd be so good. And that kind of sold me on the idea of this guy a bit more. And to be honest, I think a bit like Snarl, I like him more than I was expecting. Yes, the breakdown mould is not necessarily one of the best lookers out of the Combined Wars line. It's a bit just boxy and odd here and there. But I think Sunstreaker looks really good. I don't know, it's just a nice injection of colour. All the bright yellow and the red bits and the contrast with the black. And he's got some really nice metallic blue on there and on like the windows when he's a car. And that just looks really nice. And when you have the whole thing here on his back, it's like, oh yeah, it just works. It's like there are little tiny bits, not very much, because when you look at the actual animation model comics design from G1 for Breakdown, this figure, this mould, is really, really close to that, even down to the things on his legs and the stuff on his chest, where you look at it and think, well, where the hell did that come from? It all comes from that design. It's really slavish to that. This works as a nice Sunstreaker. Just sticking that engine block thing on his back and giving him that odd kind of, I don't know, mouse-eared face, it works. I'm okay with this. I don't have another toy Sunstreaker, I don't have the Universe one, and to be honest now I can completely just think I don't want it, and I never really did want it anyway, so it's alright. Sunstreaker's good. He's nice and bright and he feels fun just because he's so colourful. And I think the simple fact that all of his plastic isn't just flat yellow, it's all vaguely, slightly, like thinly metallic, just makes him feel nice. He's just shiny. He's just shiny and nice, and I'm happy with him. Yes, they could have given him a new chest, but I can live with it, because, like I said with Prowl, it's a case of bringing out that real G1 feeling of a G1 character without really having any of the distinguishing features. It works. I'm okay with them switching up the designs a bit here and there. Like with Warpath not having the gun in his tum, I'm okay with them doing something a little bit different, because they don't have to look the bloody same every single time. You just end up trotting out the same toy over the course of 30 years, and where the hell is the fun in that? So, Sunstreaker's alright. He's not that bad. He maybe isn't the weakest of the team, I'm not quite sure. I think Mirage has now fallen to the bottom spot, but I've yet to get Ironhide, so we'll find out, I suppose. Honourable mention to his entirely silver machete. And then, along with Sunstreaker, well, not along with, because it was in a different box, it came like 2 days later, it's another Combined Wars thing, because of course it is, because what is there to buy at the moment that isn't Combined Wars, honestly? Swindle! Yeah, Combaticon times continue with, no, let's face it, what is the second best guy to get? Yeah, he's all sandy coloured and he's Jeep, and I like him, and I'm just going to get this out of the way before I go into him. He came with something else. He came with one of the Takara flight stands. I was actually quite excited to get, pretty much exactly as excited as having this, having that stand, because it's like, I'm very aware that I would use a flight stand quite a lot, and when I had one that wasn't broken, that came with my JoJo figure, I was using the hell out of that, and the fact that more and more Transformers have got the ports in the back to use on a stand is really good. So it's like Takara making their own, making an official one with a badge on it that's really sturdy, it's got a ratchet in the bottom of it. I was like, yeah, put me down for one of those. And then within about half an hour, I snapped it in Spider-Man's back. Well, I'm not happy about that, so let's talk about Swindle. I'm very aware that I bought Swindle. I bought a robot called Swindle in the same box as something which went and broke within half an hour, that is more expensive than the regular flight stand you can get for like £4. There's some irony there. Anyway, he's nice, but I don't know. Swindle isn't a guy that I'm that attached to. in terms of Combaticons or G1. I know loads of people who absolutely love Swindle. He's not really that high up on my list. If he was green, if he was khaki green with some orange bits, then I'd be going a bit mad. If this was already Roll Bar, I'd be hollering, boy. But it's not, it's Swindle. He's got purple bits and sandy coloured bits and shiny gunmetal bits and what is there to say? He's all big and wide and he's brimming with detail. It's like, Christ, you put this next to other Combiner Wars figures, it just feels like there's so much more going on. There's hardly a flat surface on this thing. He's dripping with just rivets and panels and stuff, and it's like, crikey, it's almost a bit too busy, especially with his legs here. It's like, what is all this stuff in his shins? All this sort of stuff that's just detail made by holes. I'm not really a fan of detail made by holes like this, and I would have been very happy just having flat shins, because when there's a chance this gets painted into Roll Bar, I'd want these to just be flat panels. But it looks good, man, yeah. But I'm very aware that it doesn't really strike a lot of the visual, like, shapes, the big main shapes that I'd associate, well, with Roll Bar, the Roll Bar toy, that maybe people out there would sort of see the same thing with Swindle and his old toy. Yeah, it just feels like the legs are kind of almost the wrong shape, and there's something amiss about his head. It's a very good Swindle head, but there's something I can't put my finger on that just feels a little bit off. And there's just stuff here that's like, well, where did that come from? Why is he now covered in all these sort of roll cage bars? And I know he's going to get repainted Hound, of course, and his feet seem very Hound. And there's a couple of bits on his chest that are a very Houndy, jeepy chest time. And I found out this morning that you can take his gun, and there's like a little hingy thing there, and there's like hinges in the back here, which you wouldn't know about, and you can plug it in there so Hound can shoulder mount, but Swindle can't, because there's all this paint on his gun and it simply won't go in there. So it's a bit of a shame you're left without an option there, but I suppose it makes Hound a bit cooler and a little bit more worth the time. So I like Swindle, yeah, but at the same time it's like there's some stuff here where I'm thinking, where's that come from? What's this about? I mean, it's like he's suddenly returning the 2012 semi-ratcheted plastic against plastic elbows here, and yeah, he's working with the Rook transformation, but I can't find a single piece, apart from maybe the wheels, that are the same as Rook. So it's like, why use the basis of that figure if literally every single part is different? It's not a remold because everything is different. It's just using the same, I don't know, dimensions or something? I don't understand why he wasn't just his own mould, or no, let's face it, no, let's look at this differently. Swindle is his own mould. What's going on with Rook? It's like, for the longest time, I've looked at Rook and thought, who are you supposed to be? It's like how people look at the new Star Wars characters and try and make them think, oh, you know, are they related to older characters? And they can't treat them as just new characters. And I'm looking at Rook and trying to make that same connection, like, there's got to be something here. You're supposed to be like a pre-mold of someone else. You're supposed to be made to be someone else later on, aren't you? Aren't you? And I can't just treat him as the new guy that he is, that he's worthy of being. He's not Lando's son, alright? Just treat him as the cool new character he is. So yeah, Swindle's proper nice. He hits the same kind of ever so slightly better than everyone else tier that Brawl does, which is nice, with all the whole extra kind of stuff you can do with his guns, and the simple fact that this gun has a port in it, that made me very excited, because it's like, that's what the Ruination guns do. The Ruination guns combine, the Ruination guns have other ports in. Roll Bar's gun has another port in to attach it to a bigger gun. That just got me very, very smiley for 2 minutes, and I was like, ho ho, ho ho, ho ho, possibilities, possibilities! Yeah, but we won't see it, will we? Or if we do, it'll be an SDCC exclusive, and I'll cry very, very bitter tears, because even though I've got a job now and might have more of a chance of affording an SDCC combiner set, I'd rather not try and afford something like that, if I can avoid it. So Jeep Man Who Likes Money is nice. I haven't spoken about him as a Jeep, have I? I'm not sure what to think about the Jeep. It's just a big block of all-terrain vehicle, and I'm very much a fan of that kind of thing, but I'm very aware that, again, like the robot mode, the vehicle mode doesn't hit the right shapes I want it to. It's like the hood has kind of got that undulation going on with the shape there, but not enough. It's not like deep enough. And then it's like there's no windows. He hasn't got a windshield. He's just got a hole. And then there's all these bars around the top. It's like, you shouldn't have a roof. Where are the seats? There's just hands in here instead. So I guess I'll just continue to look at Swindle and think, he's good, but what's going on? Oh yeah, by the way, you can sort of suck his gut in there like that. Combaticon train rolls on, especially now since apparently onslaughts have been found in Sainsbury's. It's like, oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it, to go in there and find Voyager, even though my Sainsbury's has never stocked Voyagers, so that's probably not going to happen. The road to Bruticus, the big bad battle in Dudicus. No wait, that's Onslaught, isn't it, in the rap? The Dudicus. It rolls on in that kind of military fashion of all those jeeps and tanks in a Godzilla scene. Soon, 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 I will have the Brute Man. Soon I will have a lovely big combiner made of military drab, and I'll be very happy. Maybe around the same time I'll have a primary colours combiner made out of these lads. And then it will be like, what's left? What's left for Combiner Wars? Bar the lovely big box sets like Computron and Leo Kaiser and G2 Superion that I can now afford. Oh yeah. So time will tell how much good stuff I show you in the future, because finding the time to do this video has been a little bit difficult. But now if I'm going to be getting robots on a much more frequent basis because I have a little bit of money, maybe the dream can come alive again and we can actually have Twit on a weekly basis. Who knows? Till next time, holla holla, get $1. Looking a lot like a red little Megatron.